So this is a recording to show how to do a bending stress in a beam TQ experiment. So what you should be able to see at the moment is this is the TQ rig in the lab. You've got a little display here that shows the load being put onto the beam up here. This is up here, you can't quite see, but dimensions of the beam, and here is where the load gets put onto the beam. So once you have the USB license plugged into your computer and you're connected to the test rig, you'll be able to open this screen and click on bending stress in a beam. Pop up with this little screen here. The first thing to check is where it says section dimensions, and you just want to check to see that these dimensions are the ones being displayed. There's no reason why they shouldn't. They should automatically come up like that, but it's just good to check it. You don't want to go through the whole thing and find out all your dimensions are wrong. So then we can go back to the strain gauge viewpoint here and go to run and connect. That will then connect your computer with the physical test rig. You'll notice that you've gone from a red dot to a green dot to show you that you've got a live feed coming in from the test rig onto the computer. So now you've got your live ones here. Commonly, you'll be asked to go up to 500 and 100 Newton increments, starting from 0. So I've turned this here to get it to 0. You'll notice that you've got your load changes depending on how I change on the actual test rig, and your strains also change. So what we'll do is we'll get this as close to 0 as possible. There'll always be a little bit of sort of changing. There we go. And then we'll go onto tools, 0 the strain gauges and 0 the force. You get the force as close to 0 before you 0 it on the computer, just to make sure you've got enough room to go up to your 500 and down again before you run out of space on the screw. So then we will record the strain data for 0 Newton. So we've just gone to data, record data to table, and that will give you a little pop-up. So there we go. So you'll be able to see your load, bending moment, and different strain gauge measurements. Then what we're going to do is we'll turn it clockwise to get to 100 Newtons. So you'll see the force here is increasing and your strain gauges are also changing. So what this is showing you at the moment is that based on the force that we're putting onto the machine, you've got compression in the top members. So negative strain gives you compression, and then positive strain gives you tension. So the top of the beam at the top here of the little T section that we have is trying to compress, push together, whereas the bottom is pulling apart in tension. So I've got this fairly close to 0, at 100, sorry, and then I'm going to record the data again. And then I'm just going to keep doing that, increase to 200 by turning the little screw underneath the test rig, and then recording the data again. And I'm just going to go up until I get to 500, bearing in mind that we do have a little note, maximum 500 Newtons on the test rig, just to make sure that nothing breaks. So I'm just going to do that now. So I've gone up to 500 in 100 Newton increments, and you can see the bending moment strain gauges, the gauges on different strains throughout the machine. What I'll now do is go back down to 0 from 500 and complete the data set just by doing the same thing, turning the screw underneath the rig to get to 400. A little bit more, and then data and record table, and it just increases each time. So I've now got my full set of data. So all of my different loads along here, at bending moments at each load, and the strains on different gauges throughout the test rig. I can now save that, so using this little save button at the top, I can do test data. This software saves the data in an internet style format, so it comes up like this. Let me show you. There we go. But you can transfer this into Excel, so I just copy and open up an Excel spreadsheet here. It's a bit fiddly in the internet format, so just to make it a bit more user friendly, we'll just pop it in a, make sure that you can see it there, and save it there. So make it nice and easy to read, and there is all your data. So you can now make graphs and compare different ones, whatever it is that you're required to do with them. So there we go. And that is bending stress in a beam.